Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining the Select Board for this casino forum. The purpose of the forum is to give residents an opportunity to express their concerns about the proposed casino project for downtown Springfield. The MGM Resort Casino will be an $800 million development that will drastically change the landscape of Springfield and the surrounding communities. The gaming legislation passed in 2011 recognized that the effects on surrounding communities would be costly, and part of the legislation required casino project developers to negotiate mitigation agreements with surrounding communities. The legislation also developed a fund from gaming profits to help mitigate the negative social effects on gambling. The town of Longmeadow has been working to develop a plan to protect the quality of life in Longmeadow, as well as keep Longmeadow as the Longmeadow we all know and love. The Select Board realizes that a resort casino just a few miles from our town will have serious consequences to our town. This forum is an opportunity for the residents to express their concerns. It's not an informational session, and we are certainly not here to justify or excuse the decisions of the Gaming Commission, legislature, or MGM. We want to hear your views and concerns so we can codify them and amalgamate them into the large issues that we will use when we communicate with the Gaming Commission and when we negotiate with MGM as we advocate for our town. The way the original legislation was written and the fact that the regulations are being written and decided during the process has left towns at a distinct disadvantage. We have engaged counsel and are engaging experts to guide us through the process of negotiation and mitigation. We know how important this is to all of you, and indeed to all of us as a community. For that reason tonight, if you have questions, we will write down your questions, and the board's intent is to respond to you in writing once all the facts become available. You should know that there will be an informational forum in December. We will then know if the MGM project has passed the suitability hearing, and by then the initial MIPA and traffic study should be available. The suitability hearing decides that the casino company has adequate financing for the project and passes whether it will pass an extensive background check. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes so everyone has a chance to speak. As with the town meeting, please state your name and address. Only town residents will be able to speak. If you're not able to come to the forum tonight in person, please send us an email or a letter with your comments. The forum is being broadcast on LCTV, and there is a live stream available for your computer. If you want to look at the computer, go to longmeadow.org, and the connection will be there, the link. Thank you for coming tonight. During Game 6 of the World Series, we'll be ending the forum at 9 o'clock so Red Sox fans will have a chance to see the end of the game. I would like to thank everyone who wrote in. We received about 38 emails. I was going to go through and read them, but what I did promise is those comments would be considered. Everyone on the board has received those comments, and we will put them on the website as official correspondence that we will receive and we are listening to. So right now, we look forward to having all the residents here. Please come up to the microphone if you would like to speak. Thank you. Oh, yes. I need to tell you. Also, Stephen Crane, the town manager, is going to help us with a little time management. So we're asking for 3 minutes. He's going to give you when 30 seconds or 0 minutes is up, and so we can just sort of keep the flow going. So you just need to watch Stephen, and he will give you an idea of where things are. Okay? Thank you. Is there anyone? Please go to that microphone over there, and the camera on the left will be covering it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Reyes. I live at 42 Hazelwood Ave. I just moved to Longmeadow a few months ago. My husband and I moved here for the schools and the community and the character of this town. I firmly believe that if there is a casino in Springfield, that will be really seriously changed. So I'm speaking as an economist. I'm a PhD economist, a professor of economics. I actually do public finance. As a mother and as a resident of this town. The financials of the casino industry are bad. Eventually, they lose money, and they are predatory industries. This is not necessarily going to be good for Springfield. Even in the long run, it will probably be bad for Springfield. It will definitely be bad for Longmeadow immediately and forever. The effects on surrounding communities, traffic, crime, drunk driving, declines in property values. These are large, significant, and the mitigation that they are offering or that we could ever hope to receive will never offset these. If you think of a 10% decline in property value for a $400,000 house, that's pretty large. We are never going to get anything like that if we think of what we'd have to spend on police, on trying to protect our children as they go to and from school and as they go around this community. It is a clear threat to this town. I believe the Select Board must be vocal, out in front of this, in opposition. And there's just no upside here. There is no upside. There is just downside. We need to be clear. We need to coordinate with other communities around Springfield so that they hear a resounding no from all of us. They heard a weak yes from the residents of Springfield. What MGM is offering is not a resort. It doesn't actually match what the Gaming Commission is looking for. We need to point that out, and we need to join forces with these other communities to show that this will be unambiguously bad. As we do that, we should pursue making it clear what true mitigation would require. More on 91, all kinds of changes to traffic in Longmeadow. These are expensive things. $500,000 for all the surrounding communities is not going to touch that. So I really don't understand why we would build this beautiful new school, put all of that effort into that, and then not go all out in fighting this. And I think we should spend as much as it takes on legal counsel and on consultants to do our own studies. We can't just piggyback on studies done, funded by MGM. I know how such studies are done. There are all kinds of assumptions that go in, and you just get a sausage out the end, and it's only garbage goes in, garbage goes out. They can make the number be whatever they want, and there will be no commitment to that. We need objective studies that have our interests at heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
Sure. Henry Cropsey, 862 Longmeadow Street. I obviously am very supportive of what the woman just said now. She was very eloquent and said it a heck of a lot better than I can, but I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who starts digging into the casino literature. Obviously, there's lots of stuff in favor of it, but if you also take a look at all the articles that have come out against casinos, not just recently, but over the years, it really is a marginally upside at the start for some areas, but overall it's a tremendous downside. Foxborough recently, you know, when they have their periodic interest in having a casino, they were clever enough, their Board of Selectmen sent people down to the communities surrounding the Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods to see what was actually happening on the ground over there. And the Board of Selectmen and the other community leaders in those towns were pretty much unanimously against what had happened. And one of them is quoted as saying, if we actually had known what was going to be happening, we would have all fought this back at the time. Now, of course, Connecticut's in a totally different situation than we are because we have, you know, Connecticut was dealing with tribal nations, which was a deal between the state of Connecticut and the tribal nations. We're not dealing with tribal nations. We're dealing with a statute that specifically states that surrounding communities are supposed to be consulted and their voice heard as part of this entire process. And if all of the surrounding communities vote against a casino, that has to be taken into consideration as part of the Gaming Commission's ultimate decision on this topic. And right now, as people probably are aware, East Longmeadow has already voted against the casino in Springfield. We have a similar vote at our upcoming November 5th town meeting next week, and I obviously urge everyone to come and at least have their voice heard, because what's also interesting is I've been around long enough to remember having voted on the statewide ballot against a casino a number of years ago, only to find out this time around that a casino has slipped through Boston without any public vote ever being held at the statewide level. That's being sought to be rectified by a petition that's being circulated even as we speak to put a ballot question on the November election to repeal the whole casino vote in its entirety. So rather than go into specifics, I'd just like to say I think we all should go to the November 5th town meeting and have our votes heard and our voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have not only received emails, but residents have been sending us articles, like you mentioned, there are articles out there, and we really appreciate those, especially when it gives us some solid statistics and everything else that we can use. So we appreciate those that we have been receiving, and please encourage more to come. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, my name is John Fitzgerald, 95 Cedar Road. I'm a member of the school committee, and I believe you're in receipt of a resolution that we passed at our meeting Monday night, 7-0, coming out against a casino in Springfield. I don't really have too much to add to that, and so in the interest of moving things along, I really think we should investigate this thoroughly. There's a lot of research out there. Casinos are not a wise investment. They appeal to irrationality, and they go completely against the kind of ethic that we try to teach in our public school system. So you've got the resolution from the school committee. I think I'll just leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Betsy Port, and I live at Farmington Road, and been here in Longmeadow for about 17 years. I can tell you right now that it's ironic to me to think that we've built this beautiful structure. This is the first time I've ever been in this new auditorium in this gorgeous high school, and this is something that surely we have built for the future. And at the same time, there is this potential threat of a casino in Springfield that would do exactly the opposite of what this is here to do. This is here to educate people for the future. It's for future generations. And the first woman who spoke tonight is 100% correct in everything that she said. I want to emphasize that this town runs on taxes, and the taxes for each and every one of us may have gone up with a high school, but they certainly will go down if our property values go down. I don't know the facts and the figures. I don't know if our property values will go down 10%, but I certainly think that that is a huge, huge bite out of the town's budget. I think we need to think about the jobs that the casino will possibly bring to the area. I think that we really need to question the quality of those jobs, and we need to look at the big picture. I urge everybody at home who could not be here tonight to come out and vote on Tuesday night, November 5th. I think some people, because of their busy lives, they may not realize we're not talking about an election ballot at the community house. We're talking about a town meeting next Tuesday night. You need to come. It's here at the high school, and I think it's very, very important, if possible. I know this isn't really set up as a question and an answer session, but what I'd like to ask each and every one of you up here on the stage tonight is I'd like you all to do some soul searching and really think about what you want for the future of this area. I'm not just talking about Longmeadow, I'm talking about all the surrounding communities, and I think by saying nothing, you are actually saying something. And it gets me really, really upset to think that the leaders of this town, the people that we have elected, are not taking a strong stand and are not speaking out. Where is the outrage? I mean, we're not talking about just a casino. We're talking about changing the whole area. Of course the traffic's going to be worse. Of course pollution is going to be worse. But what about the whole environment, and what about the historic nature of this town in New England? Longmeadow is a really special place, and I would like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Broad. I live at 59 Sterling Street, and I sent you an email a few days ago after speaking with Alex, who is in favor of the anti-casino movement. For one thing, I'd like to say, just reiterate for whoever is here, that I think that the vote in Springfield had to have been greatly influenced by Mayor Sarno coming out in favor of the casino in several of the TV ads in which he said, vote yes on July 16th. Surely the not very large margin that the casino issue won by was influenced by him taking that stand, whether it was right or not. He took it, and we have the result of it. I am a retired teacher. I taught at Center School for 28 years, and I would like to speak to the safety of the schools. I think that in this day and age, with the lockdown procedures that are commonplace in schools throughout our country, we are inviting disaster by opening up our community to the traffic and perhaps kind of people that would come here and perhaps do us a great deal of harm, especially with regard to schools. Cutting through town, not necessarily on following the traffic on Longmeadow Street, which is bad enough, but a lot of cutting through town into the schools. I just think that the safety issue for our schools would be very, very serious. So I would like you to think about that aspect as well as all of the other aspects that are so negative. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I think there's one thing that we have to think about when we think about this legislation as a whole. The people who voted for it, none of them wanted a casino near them. The people who know the most about casinos don't want it near them. Steve Crosby doesn't want it near them. What they wanted was the casino to be near somebody else. And what this Springfield casino project would entail is it being near us. And so the people who spoke before were right. We do need to fight just as hard as we can against it. Because when we talk about the mitigation issue, you have to understand that the best we can do, the very best we can do, is to get to zero. We can't do better than what we are right now. The best we can do is to offset the negative impacts. You're not going to get positive. And the fact is, MGM has communicated its desire to give as little as possible by drafting an agreement that allocated $500,000 total for all of the surrounding communities. So the best mitigation is no casino at all. That's the only way that you can offset all of the negative impacts, because a lot of these negative impacts aren't even recognized by statute or simply cannot be easily quantified, or MGM simply won't pay them. And we may not be able to get the Gaming Commission to force the MGM to pay them. So think about some of the negative impacts. Now, one thing that people often say is, well, we don't know. Well, there is uncertainty because you are predicting the future. But I ask you, do you need to know with 100% certainty that something terrible is going to happen? If you knew that a speeding car was bearing down on you, even if you were not sure that it was going to hit you, would you not try to get out of the way? The fact is, what we should be concerned about is not the certainty that something bad will happen, but the very real probability that it will. And one last thing that I think town residents should think about when they think about property values. One of the selectmen in southern Connecticut said that along well-traveled roads to the Connecticut casinos, within 1/4 of a mile, there was something like a 25% drop in property values. Think about what that means to somebody who's got a $350,000 house and very little equity, or maybe 20% equity. That 10% drop in value would wipe out their ability to refinance their house. It would wipe out their ability to move potentially. It would be a grab of their wealth that they have. So think about it, and that's going to impact our town, and it's going to impact our residents personally. So people need to come out. I've advocated for the select board to take a stand on this. They haven't so far. I'm going to keep advocating for that. But even if they don't, the school committee has taken a stand, and the fact is the citizens have the last say. Thank you.
Richard Elias, 608 Frank Smith Road, and a member of the Finance Committee. I do not speak for the Finance Committee. We have not even discussed this matter. I'm not going to go about feelings or emotions or anything like that. I'd just like to bring up a couple of facts that we should all take into consideration. First fact is that a casino in Springfield will affect the quality of life of the residents of Longmeadow. That goes without saying. Nobody's arguing with that. I'd like to thank our select board for recognizing this and making efforts to try to mitigate it as best possible. Second, Springfield. I lived there a long time. I remember when Springfield was the city of homes, then it became the city of bars for all intents and purposes. We used to have industry in Springfield. We don't have it. They were starting to come back a little bit when the tornado hit, and that took a lot of it out. So the people in Springfield are looking for something to bring themselves back, and that's why they're doing this. It's not because they want to make it miserable for us. It's because there's no other way that they can see to help the town. No heavy industry is going to come in. No light industry. There's an awful lot of empty space downtown Springfield. Number three, yes, it could bring in crime and other stuff like that. But there is crime in Springfield right now, and it's encroaching on Longmeadow. We have problems here in town because of that. I'm not going to mention what they are, because just about everybody knows it. They just don't want to talk about it. We have a great police department, a great fire department that does everything they can to make this a fine place to live. I ask the people to consider everything and support your select board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Diane Fisher, and I live at 16 Cross Street in Longmeadow, and I work in the real estate industry. And I have been delighted over the past, I'd say 18 months, to see an increase in executives, positions moving into our area. And many, many choose Longmeadow simply because of the schools. Amherst, Longmeadow. That's where they want to look if they have families. And I would just encourage you to consider a position, having an opportunity at Bay State Medical, or perhaps having a second, third opportunity in Portland, Maine, where they also have a casino quite a bit north. But when you're considering your family, would you want to work at a wonderful hospital where there's a casino, or would you rather work at another wonderful hospital where there is none? And I think it's pretty easy. And I'm thinking that it will not only impact the real estate inventory, but it can't help but impact the level of expertise that these people are searching for, the companies, the hospitals, whatever. So I just ask you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yep. Sure. Just state your name again. I'll let Jessica.
So my name is Jessica Reyes. I live at 42 Hazelwood Ave.
Hazelwood.
And I was struck by the question about where is the outrage. And frankly, hearing that the Finance Committee hasn't even discussed this and that the Select Board has been intentionally mum is shocking and seems to me like a dereliction of your duty. You have a duty to protect the interests of this town now and in the future. This is a real and present threat. And staying mum is not an option. By staying mum, you're saying implicitly, well, you know, whatever, not a big deal. I know you're thinking about it, but I would say think fast and come out strong, because you owe that to this town. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Paul Santinello, and I'm on the Select Board. I want to just say a few things. First off, I'm a little disappointed that there's 22 people here tonight, and I would think that with the effort that's gone on, we would have seen more people come out and speak to that. And I think I hope at town meeting, and a couple of people spoke to that there's many more people at town meeting than what's here tonight. And I understand schedules are busy, and we're all busy, and I get that. To the folks who say that the Select Board has been derelict in their duty, what I'll respond to you with is this. I've had people email me, and my response to those folks have been, and I don't know if you've watched meetings, and I think you can understand what my position is on this, is that if we did not hold this forum and listen to the people of Longmeadow and made a decision before this forum, that would have been a dereliction of duty. That would have been us not doing our job and listening to people. I've received 38 emails out of 11,000 registered voters in Longmeadow opposed to the casino. I haven't received one in favor of the casino, but I've received 38. And for me to make a judgment call on what the community wants on 38 emails would be irresponsible. What I'd like to say to you is that when you look at what's made, we know when the Gaming Commission set this up, this is the first time this has happened where there's a surrounding community agreement. The Mass Gaming Commission recognized that or the legislature did when they formed this, that there was going to be an impact to the communities around a casino, including the city of Springfield or any city that got it. The issue is that fact that we are going into mitigation, and I would hope that you've watched meetings before you've come up and spoke about it, because this is something that the board has taken seriously. We've retained counsel, and I really do hope you understand that there is a process to this. Whether regarding my personal feelings don't matter in a sense other than coming here tonight and listening, I can tell you how I would vote on this when we go to town meeting, and I would tell you how I would urge the board to vote about this before town meeting on Monday night. When I moved to this town, and I grew up in Springfield, when I moved to Longmeadow, I didn't move here for the schools. My wife was pregnant. That was one of the things we weren't thinking about for 5 years. I moved here because it was something that I saw when I came to visit clients, and it's that quality of life issue. And more than anything else, there's going to be less impact on most things other than quality of life. And that's what I would fight for, is we know it's going to happen. We know, and I don't know exactly what the impact is going to be. I don't know if real estate values are going to go down. Betsy, your taxes won't go down. They're going to stay up. The valuation might go down, but your taxes are still going to be as expensive. So we're not going to catch a break on that either, okay? So your taxes will stay where they are. They don't go down. But it will have an impact on your property value. So my point to you is this, is that I don't know what all of the impacts are going to be. Will there be traffic on Longmeadow Street when there's an accident? Absolutely. We know that from the Big E. We already know that. And we know MGM's not building a casino to have a few cars come up 91. Our departments will be stressed. Okay? I'm personally opposed to the casino in Springfield. I would urge the board to vote that. We've had advice from our attorneys not to take a stance. And I personally don't care about that advice from the attorneys. I think that we should take a stance because we know there's going to be a negative impact. My point to all of you is that I didn't state that publicly until we came here tonight to hear people, because that's part of my job, is to listen to you. So I just hope you understand that there is a process in some of this as far as I'm concerned. I do believe it's going to have a negative impact. I do believe it's going to cost this town in things that you cannot measure in dollars and cents. The word mitigation and the fact that we're going through it, we know that there's going to be a problem. MGM knows there's going to be a negative effect. And quite frankly, I don't think they've been fair with us in dealing with us yet either, but that's a process that we've been trying to enter into. So I am going to vote no on this. I will make my vote known on town meeting floor. Again, I would urge my board to vote with no and join Alex and myself in that. But just so you know, our council has given us advice not to do that. But I know there's going to be an impact, and if I could put my finger on it and put a dollar value on it, I would, but there's not going to be a dollar value that we're going to get that's going to satisfy what happens in this town. And all I would say to the people that are here, get your friends to town meeting, because the more people that are there, the better it'll be. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Klotz. I live at 487 Converse Street. We moved here last August. I apologize to everybody in the room, at home, on the stage. I have a 3-year-old here. I have a 22-month-old here. They're making noise. I emailed the board my concerns. From many members, I received responses. Mr. Foster did not respond. Mr. Santinello provided a brief response. I'd like to thank him for taking a swing tonight with the people here counted low. It is the World Series in Boston. For emphasizing that 38 people, I can't make up my mind, but then having an opinion. Thank you for being against it, and thank you for speaking out against it in a public forum. I'd like to thank, I don't know your names, I'm new in town, Mr. Gold, for explaining the procedure, the process, what the attorneys have advised you to do, to not do to me in a lengthy email. I'd like to thank Mr. Grant for being very vocal against this issue. I would love, just, you know, since we're here trying to say, hey, town selectmen, please step up. I'd like to know what Mr. Foster thinks. That's all.
Any other comments? Okay. Let's keep the second one for only a minute or two, because...
Oh, yeah. No, it's very rare that you get an opportunity to speak twice at these things, but that's got to be an advantage of the Red Sox tonight. So the only thing I'd like to add that I haven't said before, because there's plenty of facts out there, I'm not going to regurgitate the fact that Ledyard's DUI rate is now #1 in the state of Connecticut and has been there for quite a few years, thanks to Foxwoods Casino, which it was not there. They weren't even on the radar screen before Foxwoods went in. So there's plenty of stats out there for people who care to look at them. So I'm not going to get into all that. But I do think that address the issue that Paul raised, which was the poor turnout tonight. And I think a lot of that is because there's been an incredible amount of money spent to create an air of inevitability about the casino going through in Springfield. And a lot of people I'm talking with are saying, well, look, Henry, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a done deal. Back offices, smoke-filled rooms in Boston took care of this whole situation. There's nothing we can do. And I think that's all being pushed as hard as it can be by the millions of dollars spent in ad campaign money by the casinos. But the reality is quite different. There is a lot that we can do by simply getting up, standing up and saying what we feel about this thing, and the fact that we're not going to just sit here and have this rammed down our throats. And I think one step, number one, is to go to town meeting and to encourage all your neighbors to go to town meeting and to encourage all your friends in West Springfield who are having their vote and to encourage other people in other communities around here to have their votes taken. And if all the surrounding communities vote no, we don't feel this is a good idea for the Springfield or for the state of Massachusetts, I think that that is going to be taken into heavy consideration by the Gaming Commission. Thank you again, and I'd like to tell people that there is a way to get this done, and we can all win, except the casinos. But they knew that when they placed their bet. They're used to losing sometimes. Bye.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Snellum, and I live at 63 Porter Lake Drive, just a stone's throw from where that casino could be built. My wife and I were recently on a trip to Niagara Falls, New York, which has several casinos and has one of the worst downtown areas in the state of New York. Clearly, the money is not walking out of the casino and being spent in the community. And clearly, that money won't walk out of the casino here and get spent in this community. It's bizarre to me with the casinos in Connecticut having financial problems, casinos across the country having financial problems, that we're even having this discussion. Why someone wants to spend that kind of money. I mean, to me, it's like a Ponzi scheme, and we're getting in at the last layer, you know. Something like 30 states across the country have casinos. The only people who are going to come to these casinos are local people. If people don't go to Niagara Falls for a destination casino, people aren't going to come here for a destination casino. Whatever we as a town can do to fight this, whatever we as a town can do to assure that this thing is not built in Springfield, I would hope that we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Richard Elias, 608 Frank Smith Road. As I said before, a member of the Finance Committee. For the lady who made her comments about dereliction, first off, we have a town charter, and it says what people will do, what committees will do, what everybody will do. The select board makes the policies and the decisions. By town charter, the Finance Committee is advisory to the select board and the town. It would be improper for us to try to give policy decisions to the select board when they're working so hard to come to a conclusion on this for the betterment of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight and voicing your comments and your opinions. I think what is said numerous times tonight is the importance of coming to do the vote. Oh, I didn't see anyone coming up to the microphone. Pardon? There are 2 or 3 or 4 who would like to speak. Okay, please come to the microphone.
I'm going to speak.
Okay.
I'm Steve Kennedy. I live at 11 Western Drive. And as many others, I felt for the longest while that this was kind of a done deal. We all know that the legislature in Boston approved the legislation, and the governor signed it, and kind of it was a fait accompli. We were going to end up with a casino somewhere. Just last week, it came to my attention that there's a very ultra grassroots effort undergoing in the Commonwealth at this point in time, which is allowing us, a number of us, to go out and collect signatures on an initiative petition form. If we garner 69,000 some odd certified by the registrars of voters signatures throughout the Commonwealth, then on the November 2014 midterm election ballot, there will be a ballot question, which in effect says, for every voter in the Commonwealth, do you approve of allowing the Casino Commission to issue licenses to these various, whomever they turn out to be, concerns. The point of this whole thing is to make or allow democracy to work the way democracy was intended to work, and that is to allow the people of Northampton to vote yea or nay for casinos in the Commonwealth, to allow the people of Greenfield, not impacted supposedly by Springfield, but they wonder, to vote, to allow the people of every city and town in the Commonwealth to have a say as to whether the Commonwealth has casinos or does not have casinos. If the people who are watching this find one of us in the town in front of the Big Y, Armadas, the library, wherever it happens to be, with a clipboard, with this petition, please take a moment to look at it. The petition simply says, do you want democracy to work as far as the casino question is concerned? Democracy to me is a good thing. The more people who sign this, the quicker we'll get the 69,000 signatures into Boston. This question will go on the ballot November 14, and we'll be done with this. But in the meantime, everybody, please come on Tuesday, the 5th of November, so that the intent of the town of Longmeadow can be made known to the Casino Commission. If the intent of Longmeadow and all the other surrounding towns is strong, they're going to have to take that into account when they decide to or not to issue a license. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining the petition. I just wanted to introduce myself again, Betsy Port, Farmington Road. I have a copy here of the petition for anybody in this room who has not taken the opportunity to sign it. You must be a registered voter. All of these signatures need to be certified. 69,000 sounds like a big number, but I think we can do it. I just wanted to follow up and make some comments specifically about our taxes possibly going up. I can assure you that my taxes will not be going up because I will not be living here anymore. I will sell my house. I don't want to do it. But if there's a casino about 2 miles away from my front door, forget it. It's just not going to happen. For everybody at home, I want them to use your internet, go to No Casino Foxborough and see what happened with that town. They fought a casino. I'm sure everyone knows where the Patriots play, but that is a town that could have had a casino in it. Also, if you want to take a road trip, you can go to Mohegan Sun, you can go to Foxwoods. Go in there and see what it's like. See the smoke-filled rooms. See the people cruising around, you know, sitting in front of slot machines. See the children being dragged around at 11, 12 at night. There are articles on the internet about the children that are left in cars so their parents can go gambling. I don't want to get too emotional on this, but I am really, really upset. I feel like we're fighting some invisible monster. Where are these people? Where are the MGM executives? I'd like to know where they are. Have we invited them to talk to us? Have we had an opportunity to see these people? It's a big mystery. Also, I'd just like to say, even though there are only 20-something people here, it's not because of the World Series. We can't blame the Red Sox. This was not publicized very well. It's on the website. It was not in the paper today. It was not in the Longmeadow News last Thursday. There was no sign at the top of our town. Usually there are signs that say, meeting tonight, come one, come all. How are you supposed to find out about this stuff? The select board did not decide to have this meeting until there was pressure back and forth through the Longmeadow News. This should have been planned 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. We knew this was coming. So I would like to thank all the people who showed up tonight, and for anybody at home, please sign this petition and come on November 5th and vote. Thank you.
Well, I emailed all of you, so you've heard the comments, but I just wanted to reiterate that I moved back here 3 years ago. I grew up in Longmeadow. Kristen Welch Lyon, and I live on Eton Road, and I grew up in this town, and my husband and I were gainfully employed, doing well in Boston. We moved back here for quality of life, having lived in some of the best communities in the Boston area, we decided that for raising children, this is the ideal environment. And here we are 3 years later talking about leaving now that we have 2 children and moving somewhere else if the casino comes to Longmeadow. And it just makes us very sad that we left everything to embrace this community that I grew up in, and now it may not exist anymore if this casino is approved. And my husband does work in Hartford, so it was a little bit of a struggle for us to decide to live in Longmeadow because obviously the Connecticut suburbs would be an easier commute for him. And so as far as what Paul was saying, I agree with your sentiments, except for the fact that the gentleman said before that we do have the information. I mean, I realize it's a process, but when you say we have to take into account all the information, I think that you are the people that need to educate yourselves on all sides of this and have looked at the videos and talked to different towns and figure out what it's done to different communities across the United States. And I don't think you can rely on every single person in this town, because half the people that I've talked to, I went to a mom's club meeting yesterday and brought it up, and people say, oh, maybe it'll be something fun to do in the area, but none of those people had thought through all the non-fun stuff that's going to come along with it as they're sitting there with their toddlers. They just don't have the time or maybe the interest. And I think we place our trust in you to get more educated maybe than the average townsperson. And I think we do have the information. I don't think we need to learn from our own mistakes. I think we can learn from others on this issue. So I would be very sad if you all didn't do your best in, keeping families here. So that's all.
Thank you.
My name is Kristen Thomas. I live at 489 Wolf Swamp Road. I just want to echo what these other mothers of small children have said. For my family, my husband is a native of West Springfield, and I'm not from this area. I've lived here since I graduated from college about 20 years ago. And I've watched the area ebb, and the evolution of this casino idea, to me, makes me very insecure about living in this neighborhood, in this area. For me, I don't have a personal connection to this area. I'm not from this area. So what I see is the bottom line of safety for my children, and we'll pay anything to stay where it's great for our kids to be. But at casino in this area, I just don't see a future here. I'm not asking for, I know everyone's in the same boat, but I'm looking in my kitchen, I need to reface my cabinets. And to feel like I can't do that because, boo-hoo, big problem. But it's sad because it's taking, the idea of the casino is sort of taking some of our ownership, interest, and pride in our homes away from us before it's even gotten here. I agree that it feels like fighting a ghost, that there's no one here speaking. We're kind of speaking in a vacuum. And I feel that I understand what the board is saying about attorney's advice and whatever the specific words are, keeping a low profile and so forth, or not taking a stand. But what I want to say is, as a member of this community, to me, it looks like a lack of firm leadership, cohesive structure. And I think that people who are already dissatisfied with the way government works at a national level, a local level, this is just one more piece of the pie that's making the people disappointed. If I was you and I saw 22 people sitting in here, I would be really concerned. I would be really concerned about where my leadership was taking this community if I was on the select board. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to thank you for coming and for your comments and the emails that we've been receiving, and ask you to please, if you were unable to come this evening, or even if you were here and you want to send more information or more comments, we welcome them. And it's a very important time for our community, and it's a very important decision, so please send us your comments. And as I said before, we've been receiving some wonderful articles from Michelle and Ted Steiger especially, and those have really been appreciated and passed along the board and the town manager. So please do not hesitate to send anything further. And also, as it has been said several times tonight, Tuesday is town meeting. There's a very important vote, and please encourage everyone to come for the town meeting. Thank you again for coming. Good night.